We are honored to have you here tonight to participate in our candidates forum for the county commissioners. This event is being sponsored by the Friends of the Library, which is a group that supports the library and of course has the Books and Friends used bookstore over in town. And frankly, that is where most of the proceeds for the Friends of the Library comes from, is from that bookstore. And of course, all of our books over there are donated, and we are all volunteers who are there and who participate. Joyce and I will be asking the questions tonight. We will be taking turns doing it, and hopefully we both speak loud and clearly enough that we won't have any problems in your hearing and in getting the response to our questions. The timers, Ruth Nadio, who is one of our volunteers of the Friends of the Library, and we have time set aside for response to each question. Whenever it gets time for you to coming down to the end of that time, they are going to waive that. And then whenever the time expires, the red comes up, and we want you to stop almost immediately after you see that red. We'll cut you off shortly thereafter. We want to express our appreciation to the ACTV, who is recording this, and to Tim from the library, who are working on this event, and we appreciate all of the assistance that they have provided to us. Let's see, I think that covers most of what I wanted to make available in terms of information for you. With that, we will begin, and we will take turns in responding, and then the next question will go to a different one to respond first. So there will be some rotation among the questions. With that in mind, the first question that we would like for you to respond to, and we will allow you a minute and a half to respond to this question. So Ruth and Debbie will make note of that. The first question is simply this, and Bobby, we will begin with you. Include Include in the information you provide how long you've lived in Allegheny County and what specific strengths would you bring to the county commissioners? Bobby?
Okay, thank you. I've lived here most of my adult life. I spent about 10 years in Washington, D.C., where my father left. He was the dentist here for years, and he had an opportunity to go to Washington and teach at Georgetown University. I've been in the Marine Corps for 11 years. I was a combat photographer for 15 months in Vietnam. I served on the Board of Education for 12 years. I served on the Selective Service Board for Northwest North Carolina for 20 years. I've been a county commissioner for 8 years. I think that I've been a businessman. I've run Twin Oaks General Store for almost 20 years. I'm a farmer. Our farm is 150 years old. Raised beef cattle, and I think that I know the county government, I know the state government very well. Also work on the North Carolina Community College Board, and we service 800,000 students. And I believe my time is just about up.
Thank you, Bobby. Brad?
Yes,
a minute and a half?
I'm Brad Nabe. I'm 56-year-old, be 57 Friday. I've lived here all my life. Served 12 years on our school board, been off it now 4 years. I'm a 35-year volunteer firefighter and medical responder. Grew up on a family farm. Did farming most of my life, and thought that was that's what Allegheny was about, you know, back in them days, like Bobby, you know, the family farm was a big thing. And then I went off to work for G&B Energy. I've been there going on 24 years. And, just have a passion for the county. I mean, we've, and our kids here in the county. And we just need to, concentrate on our local people. And Allegheny is just the greatest place to live that I think we could ever be. And I think I could bring a lot to the commissioner board. And I know there's a lot of struggles, but you know, with everyone working together, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, we can all make this work.
All right, moving along, Jim?
Thank you for inviting the candidates to this forum. The Friends of the Library should be appreciated for that, and I certainly do thank you for that. My name's Jim Halsey. I've lived in the county 55 years of my life. I grew up here. I grew up on a family farm and have farmed some of my life. I've also been employed in manufacturing for over 40 years in different facilities, you know, in North Carolina, a few years in South Carolina as well. So my feeling is that my background in business and industry, where profit and loss are important and managing budgets is important. I have the business experience that would be helpful in running county government. Some of the issues I feel like we need to deal with are managing the change that's coming about in a positive way. I think we have a lot of opportunities to anticipate things and to make be proactive instead of reactive to the issues or whatever. I believe I can work with the commissioners, which party or whatever, and I, you know, look forward to continuing later.
Thank you, Greg?
I'm Greg Walker, graduated from Allegheny High School in 1980. Spent 7 years in the National Guard and Army Reserve both. I was born and raised here. My dad ran a country store in Glade Creek, Ennis. Was raised up in a country store. Got to meet a lot of people like that. After I got out of the National Guard and Army Reserve, I moved to Statesville and Hickory area, Salisbury. I've been in a Ford dealership over 30 years and a Chrysler Dodge dealership 2.5 years. I managed the service departments. With one budget I had in Hickory was $6.6 million a year. When I got right now in West Jefferson at Randy Marion Ford, it used to be Ashe County. This took us over about 2 weeks ago. Runs about $1.2 million a year. I'm real people friendly, talk to people, real energetic. Really enjoy being outside, enjoy talking to people. That's just about it. But I did move away for about 30 years, but I was born and raised here, born in 1962, and I just turned 60 last week, Brad.
We're getting old, man.
Yeah. That's about it.
Thank you, Bill?
Thank you, I'm Bill Aldrin. Appreciate the Friends of the Library for hosting this event today, and been a commissioner here for 4 years, a lifelong resident of Allegheny County. My dad farmed, my grandpa also in Allegheny County. But in those 4 years, I've been chairman of the board for 3 out of 4, and learned some things as we come along, and a lot of good things going on in Allegheny County, a lot of positive things that's going on. It's been a very active board for the last 4 years, and I appreciate all the help, and we all work together. Politics is pre-election day. When election's over and you go to the board meeting, you're working for everybody. Don't matter what the politics are, you work for everybody, and that's never been a problem. Like Brad, been in the fire department all my life, helped start Pine Creek Fire Department back in the day, and have operated a farming business all my life, and that's a tough business to be in, as we all know the challenges of farming. And Allegheny County is a great place. It's got the best people in the world to come together and get behind an event and make something come together and happen. And you just don't see that everywhere, and that's the advantage of a small county, small community. And I appreciate that, and I like to give back to the community and the county and everything. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question will come from Joyce, and you'll begin where, Joyce?
Well, since Bill's got the microphone, why don't you just take it? We'll pass it down the other way. This time, we'd like for you to think about the top 3 needs for Allegheny County, and how would you prioritize them, and what ideas do you have for addressing them?
3
To
minutes.
me,
3 minutes each.
To me, the top 3 priorities is rental, housing, childcare, and better pay. Those are the 3 things, and pay has really come up, in the last few years. And we've addressed that from the county's point of view, and increased pay for county employees to stay competitive with surrounding counties. But there is no rental facilities. The last rental property was built was in 2000. And there's a drastic need for rentals, and I think along with rentals, when people have got a couple, 3 kids, they got more than one, they're gonna have to have some childcare. Somebody's gonna have to draw a good check, you know, to pay the babysitting service, and there's a big need for childcare in this county also. That goes hand in hand with the workforce. After school, which they have a program in effect to help after school now, to take care of kids after school. And, better pay, like I said, we've addressed that from the county's point of view, and done better pay, and it's helped everybody, and everybody's pretty content so far. And, but really, housing is a huge factor. People wanna come here to work, and they don't have a place to stay. There's just nothing available in the county for the housing facilities for people.
Any idea how to fix that?
Looking at some stuff to try to fix that through the High Country Council of Government, and hopefully some private investors will get behind housing units, you know, rentals, and try to put some of that together. It's a big need in Allegheny County.
How about the childcare issue that you were talking about?
We're looking into, again, High Country Council of Government really helps local government, and they get lots of grants and do a lot of work for each county's involved in that, and there's 7 counties in that, and we're beginning to look into that to see what can take place, and to develop more childcare. The few childcare we got is all booked up for months out to try to get a kid placed in childcare. And those are 3 good needs, big needs, I think, that needs to happen in Allegheny County to help move this county along.
Thank you. Greg, you want to take the mic, and you want me to repeat the question for you? You got it, okay. What do you see as the top 3 needs for Allegheny County? How would you prioritize them, and what ideas do you have for addressing them?
Well, I agree with Bill on affordable housing. There's not enough housing in the county. I would even make suggestions, maybe apartment complex. I know some people don't like that. Tiny houses, you know, they can be affordable permanent tiny houses, not on wheels. Another thing we need to do, make sure our kids got something to do. You know, swimming pool, something from doing the summertime, keep them active. I know we got ball and stuff like that, but some of them don't. And in the schools, we need to get auto mechanics, carpenter class. We need to push that kind of classes, because everybody don't want to go to college. Electrician classes, bricklaying, you know, drafting. When I was in high school, we had all that to choose from. And they got it now, but we need to push the kids and show them, you know, there's other ways. The schools really need to work hard on industrial classes like that. I guess the best way to do on the schools, to help them, the county commissioners got to work real close with the school boards and see if they get what they're needing. You've got to back the schools 100%. Because the young people are the future of this county. And the housing, you know, I've got to do a little more studying on that, but we do need housing in the county. It's affordable. There's, like Bill said, there's none to rent nowhere. guess the schools and the houses are two main things.
Jim, you wanna go?
Thank you. And I'm repeating some of this as well, because I think they are the issues. Housing is a big issue. I do some part-time real estate, and as we talked about, lack of rental property, but lack of affordable housing for people like school teachers and deputy sheriffs. It's a real problem. And one of the solutions I see is, Wilkes is coming up with a program to train more plumbers, electricians, and tradespeople. And we need to support that and encourage more youth to go into that, because there's good livings to be made in the trades, and people that like to be outside and not sit behind a computer all day. There's lots of opportunities for that. So housing is my number one issue. My number two issue would be our schools. We've got some big money from the state for a high school, but in talking to the school superintendent, that plan was 1.5 years old. We don't know how much it's gonna cost to build that school and to the plan that was there. So I think the county needs to step up and be prepared to help that. And we've got some unaddressed school issues. Glade Creek needs a roof, it's about $300,000. Piney Creek needs a roof, it's about $300,000. These are the kind of things that the commissioners need to maintain the school buildings and support those. And I support that, as well as building the new high school. And also with the pay issue for teachers, I support the teacher educator supplements. It's $500 a year right now in Allegheny County. It's the lowest one of any surrounding counties. Ash's last data I got was a little bit more, but Wilkes and Surrey are way more. But we need to put that as a percentage of salary, build that into the budget, and start, with a percentage, and then work towards getting more competitive in the pay for county employees and whatever, which I would do with an annual wage survey through the High Country Council of Government, which I served on their board for probably 20 plus years on the Workforce Development Board, representing Allegheny County, although I was working at Wilkes and the Bristol Compressors. The third thing I'd like to emphasize is a pool. We need a pool for our kids, and it's something that we've got some seed money, and we need to work sure that happens, and I would like to see it happen sooner than later. And we just need to, I know there's the workings and plan, but I would be supporting that very much so as one of my priorities, is to get a pool and some outdoor activities for our kids.
Well, I have about 4 things that's really concerning to me. I apologize, that's part of being a firefighter. But I don't like to turn my pagers off, because you never know when we might have to leave. But the big thing that I worry about is our school system, our kids. Better pay for our county employees, and I know these guys that's there has worked their tails off to get monies for our paramedics, but we've lost a lot of good people in the last 5 or 6 years, because they can go to other counties for quite a bit more money. And we need those good people here, because like I said before, Allegheny is the best place to live. And jobs, I'd like to see what we can do about getting jobs back to Allegheny County. I know that that would be a hard work in progress, but with everybody working together, we can get that done. And then, our school system, and like Jim said, I heard the good news on the high school, but being there 12 years serving on that board, there's a lot of money that's gonna have to be spent on these buildings. And it's gonna take the commissioners working with the school board to get this done. And then our kids, we've got to get stuff for our kids to do, and I know that there's things out there they can do, but I know the pool's been mentioned. I think Bill said they'd already got some money lined up for a pool, and I think that'd be great if we could make this happen. And then, another thing that really is hurting me is our volunteers. And folks, y'all don't know, being a volunteer, and you all volunteer, but volunteers is dropping like flies. And I'm afraid in 10 years or less, the county may be faced with paid firefighters. Because, you know, there's not enough out there. And, you know, I've got 35 years and still active, but, you know, I can't do what I did as a young man. So I think the county's got a lot facing them with that going on, and which I don't think a paid fire, one-paid unit would be bad anyway, but there's just a lot that we need to work on. But the jobs, I guess I'd say would be the big thing for me. I think if we could work to get more jobs in the county. Cause we got a lot of people here that willing and able to work. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. Bobby?
Oh, thank you, Bob.
Thank you. I got, I guess my three top priorities. I don't know if I can prioritize them as being 1, 2, and 3. But I start out with the budget, the finances of the county. Bill and I have been fortunate enough to serve on the finance committee for the last 2 years. Bill's been on it, I think, 3 years. In 2016, our debt load that we had borrowed money on was over $8.5 million. Today, our debt load is down to $3.5 million. We did this through financial, being a watchdog. People will not believe that when Bill and I sat in on these meetings, we didn't talk about $100 and $50 and thousands. We literally got talking about $3. Why was this $3 being spent? Why was this $100 being spent? Our fund balance had gotten down to 11.7%. The state was ready to come in and take us over. They would have fired all the commissioners and set the tax rate to suit the people in Raleigh. We made a change in our government. We hired I consider a genius in finances. We went from 11.7% to right now we're at 27% on our fund balance. I hope after this audit we'll be up to 33, maybe 34%. The fund balance, a lot of people don't understand. That's what the state recommends that this county have in a savings account for emergencies. And we were that low that they were ready to take us over. And we did all that without a tax increase. We paid that debt load off, and that's something I think that we're, all of us on the board are proud of. With that financial, being able to be that financially fit, then we go to I can go to my priorities. That obviously would be the school system. They're actually our second, third largest budget. But with this $47 million coming in, that's for the school board to decide how that money's spent. And I'm willing to work with the board any way we can to help them. And we've only cut the school budget one time, that was during the middle of COVID. But we've upped their budget every year since then. My time's up. I've got a lot more to say, but I'll save it for later. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll begin the next question going to Brad. And then Brad, would you pass the microphone after you answer it back to Bobby, and then we'll send it back down the other way. This question is, what initiatives would you support to bring new businesses to the county, help recruit staff, and to support current businesses? And that's 2 minutes.
Gosh, we got a lot of hard work to do. I mean, I sat back and look at Ashley County a lot and how Ashley County's grew. And, you know, I live 14 miles from Ash, and I say a lot, I've said to a lot of people, why can't we do what Ashley's doing? I mean, every business on Main Street looks like every building's full, and people's up there on weekends and through the week, and they're filling that town up. And I don't know what it's gonna take, but I think we could all work together to make this happen. I mean, there'd be some work with the town council and work with them. And as far as jobs and bringing jobs in, like I said before, I don't know what it would take to get jobs in here, but I know our school system is probably our largest employer. Am I pretty close, Bill, on that?
Yeah.
And, you know, it's, they employ a lot of people. And, do I think a factory could come in? I honestly don't know. You know, they always said where there's no natural gas, there's not much interest in factories coming, so. But we've all just gotta, whether I'm on that board or any of these guys, buckle down and try to get businesses attracted to Allegheny County.
Okay, to pass it to Bobby, and then we'll send it back to Jim.
Ready. About new businesses coming in, this current board is looking at an industrial site, that we can, at some point, make it a shovel-ready for a new company to come in, a new factory. We get monthly requests from the Chamber of Commerce, Department of Commerce out of Raleigh, that are looking for businesses, looking for business locations. Like Brad said, we're one of 5 counties in the state that do not have natural gas. And almost every request that comes to this county, one of the first questions is, do you have natural gas? And when you check that off, you're taken off their list right away. So natural gas does hurt us. We've had some improvement in the roads. We've got a good water system now that we can support additional businesses. I know that several of the factories, when they start talking to the Board of Commissioners, they mention how hard it is to get help. I know one factory about 5 months ago needed 25 new employees. They had 32 people apply, and all but 2 failed the drug test. So, I mean, there's jobs out there, but it's harder and harder to find people when money is given to them not to work. Thank you.
Okay. Jim, do you know the question, or would you like to?
I would like to repeat it, please.
Okay. What initiatives would you support to bring new businesses to the county, help recruit staff, and to support current businesses?
Working 40 years in human resources, I understand and I help promote trying to bring up new people into the Bristol Compressors building for years after that building closed. I think the best opportunity for us for new business is to encourage more entrepreneurship with people who can work from anywhere, work from home. It's 1 or 2 people or whatever, or have a call center here, you know, those kind of things. I think that's it. There's a shortage of labor. Recruiting is very difficult right now, and I understand that. We have a low population, so it's going to be a little bit difficult to get more people. You know, every business, whether it's a restaurant or a manufacturing business, or sometimes county government, can't find people to provide adequate services like, you know, nighttime ambulance service, which now fixed, but we had a 6-week issue there where only 1 ambulance was at night, so that was a concern, and I'm glad that got fixed. Current businesses, I'm really proud to see that NAPCO's expansion is coming around. It's gonna add some jobs, so also Tri-State Components. And we're very fortunate to have these local businesses owned by local people to grow here and to increase their business. But pay is an issue that we need to work on still. If you look at pay, median household income in Allegheny County is $37,000. It's $43,000 in Ash, $44,000 in Wilkes, and $44,000 in Surrey. So we need to work on trying to get pay up, as others have said as well. Thank you.
Greg, do you know the question, or would you like me to repeat?
Repeat it, please.
What initiatives would you support to bring new businesses to the county, help recruit staff, and to support current businesses?
If you can get a business to come to county, we're gonna have to give them a tax break. That's the biggest thing, it's gonna help more than anything. Just gonna go out here and work and find a business looking to locate, and give them a good tax rate, so they'll come here and stay here. We do need more pay for the employees if they do come here. And to get them to stay here, that's something the county commissioner's gotta work with them, you know, help them any way they can, help them water bills, whatever, what the sewer. I'd like to look and see what it costs to get natural gas in the county, what, you know, maybe that would help some. I don't know what it'd take to get it. That'd be a good idea if that's what's holding us back on businesses coming. But, you know, there's jobs out there. I don't know what we can do about getting past some drug tests like Bob said. I know Mitchell Bodden out there, he'd probably be it, and the county's probably the two biggest employers in the county. But these jobs out there, if people wanna work, but we need to help them people, if they need to get their pay up. I don't know if we can help the business we got get the pay up for the employees. Might help more.
Okay, Bill? You remember the question now?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Write it down 4 times. Anyway, new business, Allegheny County is fortunate, we got good hospitals, we got good schools, we got good churches, we got a good college over here, but the one thing we do not have is a piece of property to show some business that wants to come and develop up here. And I think it's needed, a small industrial park. Had a meeting with Bill Slagle, he's the Department of Commerce in Raleigh last week. First thing you gotta have to send the company up here to look is something to show them, some land out there to show them, and there's more that goes along with that. But I think the county really needs a small industrial park. Ashe County just finished filling their park up over there and purchased a new tract of land over there and had a ribbon cut about 2 weeks ago of another industrial park. So I think if you've got something, they'll come. You can make something work. You gotta sell your product. They ain't gonna walk up to us. But they better pay. I agree with better pay. It's an essential. Bottomley's is a huge employer. They built their own barracks over there and got their own labor force over there, you know, and going back to affordable housing, that goes along with the industrial park. If people don't have a place to stay, you ain't gonna get them in here. There's a lot of things that needs to happen to make all this come together. It's very important, I think, for the whole picture to come together. You gotta work for the whole picture. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Greg, you're gonna be first this time. And then we'll pass it back to Bill and go down like we did before. You've talked about some of the issues and what initiatives you might have. How do we sell Allegheny County? What are the 3 assets that you think Allegheny has that might be promoted and preserved to bring these businesses you've been talking about into the county?
One thing, we got great people in the county. You know, people willing to help each other. I wish the workforce, you know, see that. We got the most beautiful area in the state that we live in. you know, I don't know what exactly we could do to attract the jobs like that, but get them to stay here. But, the industrial park would be good. We're going to go out and do some more research on it. I really don't know what to tell you on that right now.
Bill, you want to take the mic back and take a shot at that one? You sort of did with your last question.
Yeah, a lot of components to sell in Allegheny County, and we've done touch base on some of it. People coming in here, they're looking at schools and hospitals, and the college is here to train for whatever we need them to train to do. And that's part of it, and then you move on over to the industrial park. That's another component of it. But one of our greatest assets is what the good Lord gives, the beauty of the mountains up here, and I mean, you just look outside now, how pretty it's getting. But you got tourist is a big part of Allegheny County. TDA over there, their occupancy tax is doubled, and that's where people come to Allegheny County and rent a motel, bed and breakfast, Airbnb, they spend the night here. So that tells you a whole lot, and there's several groups in government that's making all this come together and making that happen. It's not a one-man show, it's several different groups that's making this happen. And the New River, of course, that's another big seller, people come to vacate on the river, and that's a big plus, and we gotta sell what we've got up here, and we got internet service that's far better than most of the state. Skyline Telephone has kept us to the front on fiber optics, and that's been a huge seller for the housing market in the last couple of years, is people inquiring about the fiber optics that we have up here. And we're blessed in that effect, but there's a lot of things we got to sell in Allegheny County. And there's a lot of Chamber of Commerce doing a great job promoting Allegheny County. They're doing a lot of good work. And like I mentioned a while ago, the addition to NAPCO and the trust plan, that's the great thing for Allegheny County. It'll employ several more people. Thank you.
How do we sell Allegheny County? Well, to me, I think Greg hit it on the head with people. Our people here in my real estate businesses, people just talk about how nice the people are, how friendly they are, how helpful they are. So we have to promote that with new people. So that's a big thing. And as already mentioned, the beauty of the area, the mountains, the parkway, the new river, and the camping opportunities and the hiking opportunities. So a lot of ways to do that. Ran a bed and breakfast for 26 years, so met a lot of people from away coming here to spend the night. And they love the people and whatever. So we do need to continue to promote tourism through the TDA and whatever. Bill already mentioned, hospital, schools, public schools and the college. But the internet service for these entrepreneurs is a big thing. You don't get that in Grayson County. Ash has essentially the same thing we have, and parts of Watauga do. But we've got better internet service than Wilkes or Surrey. And just hats off to Blue Ridge Electric. They do a much better job of keeping the power on than Duke Power does in these surrounding counties, or Appalachian does in these other counties. So I'd want a generator if I lived in some of those. But those are the things that I see that we need to do. And I think we've mentioned an industrial park, and I'd be very supportive of that, to have it ground ready, but not to build a building, because anybody comes in is gonna want a specific size and those kind of things. But if you have the property identified, and you have the water and the sewer and the power to it, in the capacities that almost anybody would need, then we can work to bring these in. But I think until we can address some of the other issues we've talked about with housing and available labor, because about a third of the people that work in this county live in Grayson County and come over here to work. So we've got to get more people coming in here that are willing to work in WordNet. And thank you, I'll pass it on down.
I know a lot of this is repetitive, but, you know, we've got the good people here, and number one, and matter of fact, I run into a couple other day that just bought a home, moved here, and, they come here because of our school system. Cause they had young kids, and that's where they wanted their kids, and, said they'd done a lot of research with neighboring counties and said Allegheny was by far the best, but the other problem they got their kids here where they wanted them, but there was no jobs here for them. So they're living here, working in Nash County. So I think that's what we're seeing a whole lot of. And we've got a great hospital. I mean, I don't think anybody would not move here because we don't have health care. We do. And, I mean, I have a lot of sick people in my family, and the hospital takes care of them weekly. Not week, but every week, but, you know, so we've got a lot of things going for us. We've got the new river that attracts a lot of people here. We've got the Parkway, and I know this is repetitive. It's, you know, we're a small county, so we don't have a whole lot, but that's pretty much what we got to offer.
It's hard to follow them that when they've already answered the question 5 different times, but I agree with almost everything they said. I moved back here in 1977 with my family, and the main reason was the school system. That's why we moved back to Allegheny County. John Woodruff sort of coaxed us into coming back. But I look at our education system, you can't forget the hospital, top notch. I guess the only thing I don't like about going there is all the nurses that treat you, especially when you've had a gallbladder or a kidney stone. Those are girls that I coached in volleyball, and girls that I coached in softball. I mean, that's why I got all this gray hair, I guess. The people, when you think about Allegheny County, you think about the people. That's what makes Allegheny County. But we've got to have the jobs. We've got to have the interest in people staying. I think we've got a pretty safe county. I hesitate to say this, but I still leave my keys in the car a lot of times. But I mean, that's Allegheny County. Well, you know a lot of the people. Then I look back at my grandparents, my great-grandparents, 150 years of farming. Farming is Allegheny County. Allegheny County is farming. But a lot of tourists come here to look at the farms. They like to see the animals, the pumpkins, the Christmas trees. That's part of what makes Allegheny County so great. The industrial park is something that Bill and I have been working on now for about 8 months. I want to see that happen. The swimming pool, if we could ever pull that deal off, it would be fantastic. You watch the movie Field of Dreams, I saw it the other night. This would be the swimming pool of dreams. I mean, it's that nice. But we've got a great county. It's a giving county. You look at the educational foundation that gives out tens of thousands of dollars every year so students can go on to college, whether it be a 2-year college or a 4-year trade school, whatever. But Allegheny County is a great place to live.
Okay, thank you. Let's pass the microphone back to Jim. Start in the middle this time, and then we'll go to Greg and that way, okay? This question is, how can you, as a county commissioner, assist the school district with the recruitment and retention of teachers and other staff? and that'll be, 2 minutes.
Well, I mentioned some things earlier about the pay, increasing the county supplement. I think about 95 counties in North Carolina offer a supplement. Allegheny's is about the lowest, so we need to increase that supplement and put it on a percentage basis, so it doesn't have to come to the county commissioners every time. But it's been $500 a year for a long time, so we need to do that. We need to staff the schools properly, we need to provide the buildings and the infrastructure for the schools that we need, and do that. So that's the thing that I see that would help educate more than all. And with the community college here, you know, again, supporting the trades initiatives that are just getting started here, so that we can address some of the housing issues by having more plumbers and electricians and HVAC technicians and carpenters to help with the housing issue that we have right now. That will help both the schools and to have a little more affordable housing so that teachers and people can stay there and, you know, stay here and do that. And to recruit teachers, you know, we've got a lot of things going for us. We've got great internet, we talked about it, so that's one thing we have to promote. The others are, you know, just the culture here and the people here and the students and the smaller classrooms that most of them have too. So, thank you.
Okay, Greg, you heard the question?
Repeat it, please.
How can you, as a county commissioner, assist the school district with the recruitment and retention of teachers and other staff?
The county commissioners will have to work real close with Board of Education, see what their needs are, and see if we can provide the needs to them. I will work any way I can with the Board of Education. See, you know, I don't know what their budget is, or how much the county gives to the Board of Education. That's something we have to look into when we got in there. But we gotta do something to recruit the teachers, if it's a bonus, you know, to get them to come to this area and stay so long, a good pay bonus, or something like that, I don't know. Well, I'd have to look at it when I got there. But the trades schools, that's something really gotta be done. I'd like to see again, back when I was in high school, Board of Education or the county commissioner would buy an acre of land and the school would build a house. Then they'd sell it and raise money for the school. I'd like to see something like that come back into it. But I'd work with the Board of Education any way I could and try to get teachers in here and staff for the school too.
Thank you. Bill?
We got a good school system here in Allegheny, and they've made strides in progress with the trades. I agree with everybody else, the trades got left behind for several years, but now it's back, and, it's also trending over to Wilson Community College. They've got a new welding center back here behind the facility, training young men to be good welders. And working with schools is most essential. We've all commissioners is obligated to that. We want our kids are our prized possession. So we gotta educate and do everything we can do, the best we can do to make that happen. We've got a joint meeting coming up with the school board this Thursday, to discuss the new school monies they've got, and then they're gonna start hopefully breaking ground next spring, is what I'm hearing. But just for those that don't know, the 47 million, there's not a dime worth of tax money involved in that 47 million. That all came from the North Carolina lottery proceeds that the lottery has. That's all grant money coming to Allegheny County, the school system for Allegheny County. I get that question a lot, is how much money does the lottery turn out? And that's the results of the North Carolina lottery, is the 47 million. So anyway, better pay for the teachers to assist them and help them along. It amazes me what teachers will pay out of their pocket at the beginning of every year for supplies and stuff that I think that the school board should be, tax dollars should be funding, you know. And, but anyway, I support the school system and always have and always will. It's our kids we're dealing with, and that's our pride and joy. Thank you.
Keep it.
You all.
You got two.
Oh, sure. Sorry about that.
Repeat that, please. Can you repeat the question?
Sure. The question is, how can you, as a county commissioner, assist the school district with the recruitment and retention of teachers and other staff?
Well, I know that as commissioners, we've got to work close with the school board and I don't know if a lot of you know it, when I run back 12 years ago, and it don't really matter, but we wasn't hiring our local kids back. Very few of our local kids that grew up here, their mom and dad paid taxes here, worked here all their life, we was at 27, 28% hiring our local kids back. That was not acceptable. And I worked on that along with some more board members. And when I left the school board, we had hired 91% of our locals back. We all know locals won't always work. They don't. I couldn't work the school system myself, you know, because I'm not educated. But, you know, to hire local kids back that want to come back home and work here, and we've got to be mindful of that, and we've got to work on keeping just good teachers here, because we've got good people, and I'll say that, we can talk here all night, we've got the people. And we need to work with the school system, I know this new 47 million's come in for the new high school, and I know it's gonna be a work, whether I'm on this board, Bill, or whoever, it's gonna be a work to get this thing done, cause in today's time, I don't think 47 will finish that building out. But as long as we've got good buildings and good structures, good teachers, our school system's gonna thrive with the help of the county. Thank you.
Ready? About hiring of teachers, that's a job that the school board does. The relationship with the county commissioners and the Board of Education is mainly through the finances. We don't micromanage the school system, but we support their budget. And I think Bill can help me. The last 4 years, they've gotten a raise in their budget request, except for the 1 year that we were hit by COVID that was so bad, and our fund balance had dipped so low. But since then, they've received a substantial increase in their budget. The working relationship, today's Tuesday, we've got a meeting with the Board of Education and the county commissioners this Thursday. And that, I'm assuming that's to talk about the $47 million, and how they plan to spend it. The commissioners, we don't tell them how to spend that money. We work with them and we'll help them in any way possible. And we work through the General Assembly. That's what helped to get that money. We were turned down last year. Allegheny County didn't get a penny. And we were told by the people in Raleigh just to sit back and be quiet for a few months. And we gained $7 million on that 47 million increase, waiting about 6 months to receive the 47 million. So the school board and the county commissioners, we do work together, but we don't micromanage the school board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bobby, since you've got the mic, why don't you just keep it? Start. Yeah, you get the first shot. Now we've talked about the schools, it's time to talk about the library. It's a county facility. So how is you as a county commissioner could support our library by expansion, increasing staff, providing additional services? What would you like to see happen, and how could it happen?
2 minutes or one?
1.5.
1.5. It wasn't that many years ago that the library was sitting on Main Street. Pat and all of you came down there and said, we've got a chance to move it. I said, I'm not sure if that's the right thing to do. I said, I'd like seeing those kids leave Sparta School, walk down the sidewalk and go to the library. Pat said, don't worry, they'll come over here anyway. Well, my wife told me, listen to Pat. The board, we went ahead and went along with the deal. I think we meet with the library board about twice a year to go over the budget. I think we've been very generous in the budget. They haven't thrown anything at us when we leave, so I think they're pretty happy. I mean, you look around at this facility, you've got a great library. I would trade it for none, and I'm glad that I listened to my wife, and I'm glad that I listened to Pat about moving the library here. And the commissioners are still paying a debt off on this library, and we're happy to do that.
I'm going to add a little something to that comment, because I think that the county commissioners sold 2 buildings that the library had, and I think we paid that debt.
Well, it's still on our books, we're still, the bank won't forgive us that loan. I wish they would.
I agree, I don't think the bank has to forgive the loan, but I do think we need some credit, because you sold the 2 buildings, and I think it made up for that $300,000 that
I think we
you
sold
loaned
it
us.
too cheap also.
That aggravates me when I hear that we owe money on the library.
You don't know it, the taxpayers are paying it for the library. And we're happy to do it.
That's great.
Well, ladies, I don't know how many staff you've got here, but this is a nice facility. I think second time I've ever been in it. But I would do whatever to support the library for our kids. I'm all about our kids, and you know, if you need more help, we do what we do to get you more help, more volunteers. But looks like you've done a great job with this facility, and I'm sure your board has supported it, and I'd do whatever I could to support you.
Thank you. And to continue talking about the library, and I've been to many programs here with my grandkids, with Debbie and her staff, and my children say my grandkids are going to a better library than they have in the Triangle area. So very pleased with what we have, and I'm very pleased with the programs that the library offers. They offer a lot of programs, and it's great to participate in those, and it's a great facility for meetings like this or whatever, and to have other people in here, kids programs for music and the arts, and some one-act plays or whatever you talk about as well, one-person monologues or whatever. So it's a great facility for us. It's being used a lot. If there's staffing issues that need to be addressed, I would support, looking at that and trying to work with the library board on getting that, getting the appropriate staff to handle these programs and others, because I know Debbie's coming in a lot for a lot of things, and it just, we need to have a lot more people to do it, but they've got some really good staff people here that are very helpful, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
I will support the library 100%. It's a great place. People don't realize you come here, get on the computer. A lot of people don't. They ain't got internet at home. And Bob was saying, he remember when the library was on Main Street. I remember it was on Highway 18 at Sheriff Motor Company. And they moved the whole library to Main Street. That's been, I don't know what year it was, but I remember when it got moved. If you need staffing, you need more help, 100% behind it. And if they sold the old library, you don't owe the county nothing. They should've got more out of it.
Thank you. I've
It's
been
a
on-
softball question to Bill.
Pardon?
I said, this is a softball question to
It
you.
is, it's a softball question. I'm on the board over here on the committee. And I gotta say, it's a well-run library, and it does my heart good to walk in here and see how nice it is. It's the county and the library and Wilkes Community College, it's all come together in one location, real nice. And I know a lot of us as parents worked here. My mom spent 35, 38 years here, and it's just, it's nice to see it preserved like this. It's fulfilling and good use. But Debbie and her crew, Miss Jones sitting back there, and the chairman is sitting back there, it's a well-managed, well-run library. They got a lot of good things going on, they keep good numbers, they can tell you how much traffic's been through the door in any given day, week, or month, and that's impressive. And they went through COVID the same way, they kept, for the most part, kept everything open, kept it operating. And there's a lot to be said about that, and that holds true for the whole county government back during COVID. It functioned and went right on. So yes, ma'am, I'd support the library.
One thing, I don't know how many of you folks, Debbie showed it to us at the board meeting the other night, a program that was on CBS about a library in the north that just raised the thing and built new programs within, and we're looking at the ceiling and thinking, okay, maybe we can go up and add a few more things. But different things that they did, like they had sewing machines. They're doing language programs for non-English speakers. And they have more computers than we have. And they also had like a seed library and a tool library that you could check out if you didn't own a certain amount of tools. So I think with creative thinking, there might be some things that we could do. And if somebody can dream up some more space, we might add some of those.
Thanks. And I also would like to pay tribute to the staff at the library. They are tremendous. They spend a lot of hours here. They have a lot of good ideas, and, you know, they get the messages out to the community when there's a program coming, and it's absolutely marvelous. But take a look at some of the computers that they have up here for the children, and there was a newer one that was purchased with some assistance from the Rotary Club and from the Friends of the Library. But yes, there are some needs that we certainly have, and I'd like to pay tribute to Golden Leaf Foundation, who gave us the $750,000, I think it was, that started the work on getting the library moved here. And there were many other foundations that also helped. And then the Friends of the Library also raised $200,000 for the decorations and everything, the shelving and everything that went into the community. So it was certainly a community effort to make everything happen. And there are still some needs. Changing the questions or the issues sort of slightly, one of you mentioned, or several of you talked about drugs and the difficulties that employers were having in finding new employees because of the drug issue. If I remember right, I saw something in the newspaper in the last 3 months that the state was supposed to receiving some $57 million or something from the feds, and it was to, have we received
Opiate money.
opiate money? Have we received any of that money? And is there, what is happening with that at this point?
We've received one payment of about $36,000. We'll receive another payment right at the end of the year, about $38,000.
Right.
It's split over 20 some.
20 years.
Yeah.
20 years.
So it'll be a decreasing amount. From now on, we'll get one check instead of 2 checks, but there's strings attached to the money.
Okay,
We get a total of $1 million.
total of $1 million.
That's a total on the opioid settlement that we're talking about is $1 million, and that's over 20 years.
Okay, thanks, Mary.
What are you gonna do with it?
we're putting together, we just formed a committee to study that, and they're gonna come back to the board in mid-month, and hopefully they, hopefully they come up with a program. My thought is you get to these kids before the public do, and you try to, I'm serious, I mean, it's a major problem, you know, there's a lot of the police does good work and trying to curtail all that, but I would like to see the
See if it passes the microphone there.
cater to that not eliminate the others, but put the emphasis on that group of kids, you know, right there. And they're gonna come up with a good program for us to talk about at the next board meeting. And that,
Okay, pass the microphone back down along the way, and anybody who would like to comment or have, please feel free to do so.
Well, that $1 million, it'd be good to educate the kids, have something for them to do, you know, so keep them occupied. You know, see, go back to the younger kids. I don't know if any restrictions on how you can spend it or where you can spend it. I don't know that. I'd like to see something like that on.
Couple of things we've already talked about, but, you know, having a skate park, I think the town of Sparta is working on redoing that, and a pool would give more children's activities where there's others and to do that. But I think when you talk about the drug issues in employment, no employer wants to hire people with a drug issue. So I think we have to look at the real issues there that are there, and I don't know if anybody read the book called Dope Sick, but it's based all in Southwest Virginia. Beth Macy wrote it, and she worked for the Roanoke Times, and she wrote the one on John Bassett as well, so you may have read that. But it's, you know, it's all in the coal country and how, you know, Purdue Pharma did all of this, and that was the first one, and that was settled in federal court in Addington. But then the national thing, there's a much bigger payment now. But we need to look at our drug treatment programs, and this may not be a county commissioner issue necessarily, but we need, these people who are on drugs, we need to provide them with some non-addictive stuff that's gonna keep them from having withdrawal symptoms and those kind of things, and the counseling that goes along with that, so that we can have more rehabilitated people in the workforce.
So Bill, did I understand that they are restrictions on this money, or
yeah, there's some restrictions on
a lot of restrictions? Well, we're just gonna have to reach out to our young people and our teachers. I'm sure our teachers sees it more than we do, but, you know, people says, oh, we live in Allegheny County, it's not a problem. Folks, it is a problem, because it's coming here. My son's in law enforcement, and, you know, we've got to make awareness of this and try to support this and keep these drugs out of our young people's hands.
Addressing the opiate money, like I said, we've got 2 payments this year. The initial lawsuit, it looked like we're getting close to $1 million. So up front, we thought we'd be getting that $1 million. Well, it's gonna be spread out over so many years that this year, with those 2 payments, we're less than $100,000. We've already had 1, 2, 3 work sessions with the health department, Daymart, the school system, the sheriff's department. All of those people will be eligible in some fashion to get part of this money. Our finance officer, she goes to different schools and they explain how the money can be spent. But it's not just like we get a check and we can go to this group and this group and say, spend it. The law settlement has specific strings attached to it. And like I say, we've already had 5 or 6 different agencies wanting that money. And with that many, when you try to start splitting it up, then you get down to a small amount of money. So we, as commissioners, have to listen to the health department, to the mental health people, even the school system, and see which way they recommend to spend that money.
Thank you.
All right, real quickly, we'll give you each a minute to say why you're the best candidate for the Board of Commissioners. Don't start, Bob.
Start, how much?
Minute.
1 minute.
Right about your name, Bob.
That 1 minute won't, that'll go by in a hurry. I've been in county government, the biggest part of my life here, either at the state level or at the local level, through the school system, through the county government. Like I said, I was on the State Board of Community Colleges for 10 years. We service almost 800,000 students. I know how government works. I don't like how government works, but I understand that it's a full-time job. And it takes 3 of us to make a decision, not 1.
Like I said, I've been in the political part of this thing for 12 years. I volunteer a lot, served on a lot of committees, and I don't have a lot of hair, but I do have a little common sense. So, you know, I think I would work good with any of these guys on that board and ladies. And we've just got to come together and work for Allegheny County. It's not about us. It's not about nobody but the people of Allegheny County.
Thank you. I think that what I could bring with 40 years of human resources experience would be helping address some of the pay issues, pay equity as well as pay. I think I can work with people, you know, the existing board or the new folks that come on the board, working with the others and giving the time to fully understand the problem and yet still have a meeting that's not drawn out by longer than it should be, things like that. So I feel like I could bring some new blood into the commissioners, and I think that's needed. Thank you.
I think I'm the best looking one. No, I think I just need some new ideas, new blood. You know, like James was saying there, it's time for a change on some stuff. You know, let's see somebody else if we can do a different direction. May not do no better, but we'll give it one heck of a try.
Thank you, Greg. Been on the board 4 years, like to see some projects finished up, but we're getting started, and the pool project is one. I really want to see that come full-fledged. And we got work to do in that, getting funding available for that. And I've worked well, I've farmed all my life, and I've worked a lot of people. And working together has never been a problem. And we got a good board. Every board's a good board. They accomplish a lot. We've accomplished a lot in the last 4 years. We hadn't touched base on some of the things, but COVID was a big problem, you know, in spring of 2020, and then the earthquake rolled about, which I'm gonna address that maybe in closing statements. Thank you.
Thank you all for attending and for being a part of this forum. And I would like to say, I had the opportunity to hear from 5 of the 6 candidates who are running for county commissioners. Tim Ibbins was unable to be with us tonight, so he would be the 6th person. I would like to encourage everyone to turn out to vote on November the 8th, I believe. And if you are unable to go to the polls on the 8th, remember that there is early voting, which will begin on early October.
20th.
October the 20th then. So there's ample opportunity for you to go out and vote, and we'd certainly encourage everyone to do so. And if you need additional information, there are certainly sample ballots available at the elections office. So feel free to stop by there and pick up a sample if you have an interest. We appreciate these 5 candidates for coming and spending this time with us. and we thank you all for coming and being with us. Thank you, and good night.